let's talk hockey, and let's talk a little bit about the Seattle Kraken. So, did you get an opportunity to watch that
expansion draft?
Expansion draft.
I watched not the actual like live stream of it, but constantly refreshing on my phone to see like which players we picked.
Yeah, it was rough. It was a little bit of a rough presentation. ESPN, I think, got off on the wrong foot. I know what they tried to do. You know, they tried to like kind of get as much Seattle as they could into this draft, and they ended up like showing up to the fish market and like essentially like gave a bunch of people like they like pulled draft picks out of like Starbucks cups and stuff. It was like
that's all Seattle is. It's Starbucks and fish.
It was something, man. But you know, as far as the team is concerned, you know, I guess it's kind of, you know, Knights vibes where it's like you don't really know how they're going to come together as a team. You know, they seem to just be like a hodgepodge of players, but that's what everyone thought with the Golden Knights. And here they were getting to the Cup Finals, their first year in existence. So as far as the Kraken is concerned, you know, don't have to go too crazy, but who are you excited to see put on that sweater and play a little bit?
I'm excited for Brandon Tanev and Jordan Eberle.
Yeah.
And then what's my fucking guy? Mark Giordano.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just longtime NHLer. I'm psyched that there's someone with a little bit of experience on the team.
Yeah. Mikey, do you want to do your best Tanev face real quick? There it is. Perfect. Yeah,
so good.
Like I said, that draft was a little silly, but you know, they've got a pretty good team. You know, they made a couple of moves in the offseason, you know, to kind of bolster their roster a little bit. And of course, I'm sure as the season progresses, they'll do a little bit more of the same when you know, some players open up, you know, the teams are having fire sales or whatever they might have. But really super awesome that we're getting more hockey in the Pacific Northwest, because, you know, as of right now, it's really just Vancouver, you know? So, so now that there's some hockey up there, I think it's going to be great for the city and everything. Now, you know, as far as like kind of getting into being a fan of a newer team, you know, I know you guys have a lot of plans for touring and all that kind of stuff, but like, have you gotten tickets yet? Have you tried to get tickets yet? Like, what's the kind of landscape around, the buzz in Seattle, like as far as like getting the games? Is it like crazy reselling, or what are we at right now?
I have a couple guys on my men's league team that went in on season tickets.
Oh, cool.
So I have like access to occasional games just through, you know, no one can make it who wants to take my tickets.
Yeah.
So as far as I know, I think the season ticket like thing is sold out. I'm pretty sure that's sold out like right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen, I mean, obviously I haven't seen anything about resale yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also weird because I'm sure there's lots of people that would intend on being, you know, going to games regularly who are choosing not to go into any crowded room yet. So I have no idea what it's going to look like for actual home games.
Yeah.
Because there are a couple of preseason games. We had like one in Spokane at wherever the Chiefs, the WHL team, plays, and then one up in Everett, which is where the Everett Silvertips, the other WHL team, play. Look, I mean, there were a lot of people in the crowd for those games.
Awesome.
I'm pretty sure it's like the highest selling jersey right now, or maybe even like, you know, first year sales. Like it's breaking records for how many people are buying that jersey.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, dude. Seattle has been waiting for an NHL team for like 20 years.
Seriously.
Now, the last time we had you on, I'm pretty sure they still did. We still didn't know that they were the Kraken. We didn't obviously know their jersey, and like, I'm pretty sure the arena wasn't even done at that point when we had you on. So a lot has changed in a short amount of time. You know, you have a roster. You're about to be playing in, you know, less than a week. So, you know, we also on the last episode talked about how you grew up a Philadelphia Flyers fan. So, like, How does that work? Have you like stopped following them completely and are just like all in on the Kraken, or you're like, you know what, Kraken didn't do such a great job year one at the expansion draft. I'm gonna keep following the Flyers for a little bit longer.
Nah, I'm gonna be a 2-team fan. I will be repping Flyer Orange for every game except for when they play the Kraken. I don't know how I'm gonna feel. I think I'm just gonna have to watch the game and see how my heart reacts. I can't. I mean, like, obviously, I'm psyched for for the Kraken and like to become a fan, but I can't imagine that I'm gonna watch that game and be like psyched every time the Kraken score on my Flyers. I mean, I've lived my entire life watching the Flyers goalies give up trash goals.
Ronnie Hextall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's a tough thing. I've never been put in that position as like a sports fan. Like, growing up in New York, every New York team by the time I was born was already established. I mean, I guess with the exception of like, the Brooklyn Nets or whatever. But I mean, I've never had the distinction of being like, oh, wow, my city has a franchise now. Like, so that is a tough thing. Like, you spend your whole life repping a team. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with having two favorite teams. There are some people that get so like crazy angry about that. Like, oh, how can you like two teams? It's like, bro, like the Flyers and the Kraken might play each other like once a season, or like in the playoffs if they both, have deep runs and end up going to the cup. But I mean, like, they don't bother one another. Now, if you were going to like sit here and be like, oh yeah, like I'm a Islanders and a Flyers fan, it's like, what? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, you can't like teams that are going to play each other 8 times a year and develop like a rivalry. But so yeah, I could see how that'll be tough. I mean, that one Kraken Flyers game, you can just like Harvey dent it up and just like kind of just like have 2 different colors on your face.
The only time I have an issue with, like the double, like a multi fandom thing is when it's 2 teams that historically win. Like, I get people like, it's easier to root for a team that wins, but like, if you're just like a, like a Red Wings and a Blackhawks fan, okay, Blackhawks 10 years ago, but like,
that's true.
If you picked, 2 teams that historically win, it's kind of fucking lame. Like, I want to be a fan of a team that that breaks me a little bit, so that once in my lifetime we can get a cup win and I can actually feel good about myself.
And like, and I'm even like cool, like to the point where like, if you say like, oh, I'm a Flyers fan, but like I really love like Nate McKinnon, over on the Avs, or like I'm a big like Islanders fan, but like, man, do I love watching Victor Hedman, or like something like that. I don't know who says they love watching Victor Hedman. That guy's just so old, but like, that's the only guy that could come to my brain. But like, I mean, like you see that happen a lot more in like football and basketball and stuff, right? Like, oh, I grew up in New York. I'm a Knicks fan, but like, every time Harden touches the ball or every time LeBron touches the ball, I just love watching him. And you get that, with, we've got a buddy from Long Island who's like, has been a diehard Patriots fan like all his life. And Brady moved over to like Tampa Bay, and all of a sudden he's just like, Tampa Bay and New England played each other like last Sunday. And like, I don't know how his body didn't just like spontaneously combust into millions of pieces. It's just crazy. But I can appreciate it. And like I always say, whenever we talk about it on this podcast, it's, because the NHL is, again, still that 4th sport, it's still that kind of that sport that's trying to climb back up into being in the forefront. Anytime anyone is like, oh, I like 2 teams, or I like that, I'm like, cool, awesome. Like, the more money you put into both of these franchises, the more you buy, the more you tweet about them, the more you put them into the forefront of all of this, the better. So I'm all for that. But so as far as, kind of seeing the Kraken's team develop, I know we talked about, Ebbs and Tanev and stuff like that. But again, like we kind of touched upon, like one of the intangible factors is how this team is going to kind of put it all together. So it'll be interesting to kind of see. So I guess based on the team, like, what do you kind of see in them as like what their kind of DNA is going to be? Like, are they going to be a scoring forward team, or are they going to be a little bit more balanced? Are they going to be more defensive minded? What do you think you're going to see out of them?
Dude, I have no idea. I think it is way too early for me to give any sort of like realistic analysis on anything.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope we aren't like dead last in the conference. Honestly, I have no fucking clue. I mean, that's basically what everyone said about the Knights too.
Yeah.
But I mean, just in general, like the concept of being able to build an entire team out of like bottom second liners and third liners
Mm-hmm.
seem like it was broken with the Knights.
Yep.
Obviously, they went straight to the cup, but I'm hoping we get the same. It's the same broken thing for us, not having basically any fourth liners right off the bat.
And honestly, I feel like the fact that all of these teams wrote all of these players off, they're all going to play with a chip on the shoulder. Like that's exactly what happened with the Knights. And you know, these aren't scrubs. Like no joke, in the Islanders Penguins series, one name that like, you know, I obviously watched the Penguins 8 times, like other than like Crosby and Malkin and Rust, like Tanev's name was the name that you heard the announcers and like the play-by-play commentators talking about all the time. Like he's not a big flashy name, but you know, he was all over the ice, and I feel like that's a solid pickup that maybe isn't flashy and doesn't get like people buying a bunch of Tanev jerseys, but I feel like that's a solid move.
Yeah, and I mean it's going to be a chance for like Jordan Eberle to kind of like come back into the limelight and prove that he was, you know, he was worthy of being a high draft pick.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, you know, Tom and I, definitely me more than Tom, because Tom actually hated Jordan Eberle when he was on the Islanders.
I didn't like him.
I feel like, you know, he came from a really tough situation in Edmonton. And then when he comes to the Islanders, like John Tavares leaves and Matt Barzal takes the spotlight. So like even that was a tough situation for him. So like now he's kind of the guy. He's like the Kraken fans have at least a kind of a superstar on the team. Like so I feel like he could definitely turn it around and be a 30 goal scorer. We're not going to get like 50 out of him, but you know, 30 goals out of him, I could see 30 and 30.
And Jaden Schwartz is another guy that looked real good in the preseason. And I hope we can keep that shit up during the regular season.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like there are a couple of other like, you know, kind of players that give you guys quite a bit of depth. I mean, you know, Yanni Gourde is on the team. You know, you've got
another one. Like when we played Tampa, that's another name that was just like pissing. He was getting under the skin of the Islanders players. So that could be a solid move too to build around.
Yeah, and then you've got the defenseman from the Stars that they took. What is it, Oleksiak, who's like 6'7". I mean, he's like enormous. So you know, you're gonna have like that you know kind of physical presence too. Which all in all, it's really such an interesting thing whenever you have like a franchise in year one, because like you get to see like, you know, are they gonna, you know, have that golden night string, and are they going to just be fantastic, or is it going to be a little bit of time for them to gel? But like it's going to be so interesting to watch, and like I'm really excited to get to see Seattle play a little bit. I would love to at some point. You know, I've even talked to my wife about it. Like I want to do like a Pacific Northwest trip at some point. You know, just do like Seattle, Portland, and Vancouver just to like get to see it, because I hear it's beautiful. But like I would love to be able to get to a Kraken game just to like say, hey, like, you know, I was able to experience it. So,
and I mean, you have no idea how the team is going to work together, because every other team has an identity that they're built around their 2 or 3 superstars. So, you know, like Penguins obviously base everything around Sidney Crosby, Flyers around Claude Giroux for the longest time. And there's no like one true superstar. It's going to have to be someone, you know, that steps up and just like has a career resurgence. Because like you said, it's all people that weren't being, you know, that like weren't held on or cared about by their previous teams.
So like, do you think, you know, in the infancy of this team, like, you know, the Kraken's management are just going to reach out to the home team and be like, listen, guys, we need a goal song. What do you got for us?
Bro, the first thing when we started talking to our label about the about like brand partnerships and who we would want to work with. Like first thing I was like, the Kraken are coming. Whatever you got to do, we'll give it. We'll give them the song for free. It's just exposure bucks.
Love it.
I don't give a shit.
You mean number 2 after getting you on Bardown Breakdown?
that was the number one.
That was number 1. Number 2, Kraken.
Oh God, if only.
Dude, that's the dream. I'm trying to get. I feel like the sports themed band name. I feel like easy. That should be our way in.
Absolutely, man.
We'll write a song for you. You can have it.
Sneak right in there, and then they just announced I think last week the NHL 22 soundtrack, and woof, man, it is not good.
I just saw All Time Low post that they're playing like an NHL event in Tampa.
Tampa, yeah. Oh, and that, I mean, like, that's cool. Like, I love the fact that like alternative music is getting like that chain into this stuff. But like, when you look at that soundtrack, though, man, like, I think like the only thing that's like anywhere near alternative on it is I think maybe 21 Pilots. But like other than that, it's
Angels and Airwaves.
Oh, I guess so. But then again, like I can't imagine Angels and Airwaves has a place on any hockey anything. Because like if you listen to any Angels and Airwaves, it's just like 16th notes on the like hi-hat. And it's just like, nah, 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 nah. It's more like literally music to go to space to and meet aliens. Which is kind of like
there's a Volbeat song on here.
Volbeat.
There's a ton of bands I've never even heard of.
Yeah, it's just weird, like I don't even know what it is. And it's kind of
the Machine Gun Kelly, Kellen Quinn songs on there. Kenny Hoopla.
That's true. But I think I don't know, it's so strange because we've had the opportunity to talk to Steven Sabel, who like curate these playlists, and like from talking to them and then seeing this, it's like, did like they lose their jobs or like did something happen? Because like it just doesn't seem like their ethos. Because when they talked to us, they were all about like, yeah, we want to like expose new music and new this and new that. And I'm just like,
kind of that Tony Hawk mindset,
right? Yeah. And I remember like us even saying like, if you guys need anyone for like your new soundtracks, like come at us. Like we've got like all these people that have been on the show that would be perfect for it. And they were like, yeah, totally. And then like they put out Volbeat, you know? So it's just like, I don't know, but
maybe you just don't know these bands yet, Tom. Just like you didn't know the home team until I had to tell you about them. So I
guess you're right. Maybe
stop being a gatekeeper, Tom.
I'm not trying to gatekeep. I don't want to listen to Volbeat while I'm trying to. What did you say in the ad? A one-time clapper. I want to clap.
A bunch of these young up and coming artists like Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, he's an up and comer. Conor McGregor tried to beat him up, you know. That's like, hey, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. But I'm super psyched, man. I'm super pumped for Kraken hockey.